Hello. So today we are having a debate about war and peace. And the motion of the debate is as follows. The House strongly believes that if we don't end war, war will end us. And today I will argue against this point. So as an introduction, I will quote the ancient Romans who used to say, "Si vis pacem, para bellum," which means if you want peace, prepare for war. And this is not just an old saying, it's a reality. Because if we act in favor of pacifism and refuse war outright, um, in favor of the people, you might actually expose them to greater danger than if you never try to fight back. I want to take as my first example the British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain in 1938, who made the tragically famous quote, "Peace in our time," as he came back from negotiations with Adolf Hitler, saying that he could avoid war and avoid death and avoid tragedy by sacrificing millions of people, by letting Adolf Hitler take over Poland, take over Czechoslovakia. Eventually, this policy of appeasement failed, and actually it had a counterproductive effect in that Hitler ended up uh, taking over and then attacking. So this actually made things worse. Another example would be the Cold War. A few years later, the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in this cold war between each other, and both had nuclear weapons. So some people argued that you should avoid accumulating nuclear weapons. There were non-proliferation treaties. Uh, but as it turns out, if if either side refused to take those weapons, it would have ended in that side getting nuked, right? This is why both sides accumulated it, and in the end, there was no actual detonation. There was no World War III. There was no nukes or any of that. So the name of this policy is mutually assured destruction. So the name sounds a bit aggressive, but in the end, it was this kind of policy that prepared for war that eventually ended up preserving peace. Uh, and we can still see it today. For example, with the conflicts in Europe, when Russia invaded Ukraine, they did not necessarily want to fight. But the point is, at some point, you have to fight back, no matter what. And this is the only way to preserve peace. So, to conclude, will war end us? Well, only if we refuse to assume the consequences of our acts and to understand how war works. So, ignoring war will not necessarily protect us, but facing it head on might just work better.